anxious mentally, but physically I am feeling you, and I really hope that you feeling me. Is you feeling me? Hold it down for me.
Did you boo? Okay, let's get into this video. So today we're gonna be answering questions about him. So today we'll be doing a Q&A. So the first question is he in pain? I don't believe he's in pain now, but before I believe he was in pain because his head was like swelling, getting bigger, and like, you know, more pressure onto the head and the brain. So I believe he was in pressure before, but now I don't think he's in pain at all. The next question was, does he have a shunt? Yes he does. Right there is where the surgery was. And yeah, and then as you can see right here is also the shunt. And it just goes all the way back there, and it comes up here all the way down into his belly. And he has a little cut on his belly where they made sure it was there in the right spot. My bad. The next question was, how many months? He is about to be 5 months on the 11th of this month. Do you want any more kids? Sure. In my future, yeah. Sure, I'll have another kid. Why not? Did it hurt when you had him? I mean, he didn't come out normal, so not a bad thing. Like, you know, I had a C-section with him. So, a C-section, it didn't really hurt, I guess, because I was, like, on medication, obviously. So, yeah. It really didn't hurt that bad. There was pain, but it wasn't as bad as the contractions. The contractions hurt worse than a C-section, my opinion. But the next question was, will he be this way his whole life? Hydrocephalus, there's no cure for it, but there's a way to help it. So, yes, he'll have hydrocephalus his whole life. Do you live with your mom? I live with my mom and my grandma. What was the hardest part for him? The hardest part for him. The hardest part for him was, I'll have to say surgery. That was a huge step for him, like, honestly, because he was under anesthesia. He was at high risk for that. And then his skin is like very thin, so there was a risk for that. So I think that was his biggest thing. Oh, and having a breathing tube put into his lungs to make him breathe for him. I think that was the hardest thing that he's ever been through. What does his sickness mean? Okay, hydrocephalus means basically me and you, we have spinal fluids. Ours drain properly. His spinal fluids drain properly, and then they stop draining properly. Do you know what I mean? So when his stopped draining, spinal fluids is just this clear liquid. So when his stopped draining, his head started getting bigger than a normal baby. That's basically what it is. Is it scary being a mom? I mean, as a regular mom, I would say no, but like moms that I go through, I would say our decisions are scary that we have to make. I would say our decisions that we have to make for our kids is very scary. I mean, for me it was. What is your favorite thing to do? Just spend time with him. Like, he's my favorite person. Will he always have that tube? I don't really know what tube y'all are talking about when y'all say this, but the breathing tube, I've heard a lot of people said like about 1 year old, their child ended up getting off the breathing tube, but I'm not sure. I mean, everything depends on him. Like, what he wants to do is what he wants to do. And then the feeding tube, like, honestly, I don't think he needs the feeding tube, because they said, like, when he's pulled his tubes out, and there was times where he rejected me putting the feeding tube in, because, you know, you swallow whenever this feeding tube's getting down. He decided to just not let me put the feeding tube down. The feeding tube just, like, goes in your nose, it, like, goes to the back of your throat and drops down your stomach. He refused to, like, he was not going. So we gave him a bottle, and he had a pulse monitor. A pulse monitor is this little thingy, and it says his heart rate and his oxygen level. We gave him one. Those rates were perfect, and he didn't cough. He wasn't choking or anything. But they were like, he could silently aspiration. I think that's what the word was. But if you think about it, that's the whole point of getting a pulse ox and to check his oxygen levels, what this is for. That's the whole reason why we got it. So they wanted me to have surgery for that, but I don't think that's necessary for him to get a surgery put into his belly button. Well, not his belly button, but by his belly button. It's like on his stomach. It's a feeding tube. You just connect them into his belly and then it feeds him then. But I don't really think he needs that. I don't think that's necessary at all, because, you know, if he's sucking on this all day, there's spit in his mouth, right? He's swallowing his spit all day long. If he couldn't swallow or suck, I don't think he should be having a pacifier, because wouldn't that be something with that, like choking? I mean, that's just my opinion about it, because, like, they don't make sense, like, at all. How many surgeries? He only had one, because I said no about the feeding tube. Does he sleep a lot? He's sleeping right now. I would say there's some days in the afternoon he'll sleep all through the afternoon, and there's some days he'll stay up all night. You're going to sleep on me? You gonna go to sleep for the video? I guess he's going to sleep now, so, I mean, his days are still mixed up, so some days he's asleep during the day, some days he's up during the night, some days it's just a regular. Nickname for him. I call him Pooh. I called him that whenever I found out I was pregnant. I was like, got a little Pooh. Does he have a babysitter? No. Like, his condition, a babysitter, like, people are cruel and they're mean, and it's unbelievable. But I don't believe in a babysitter, so no. That's my job. Nobody else's. My job. I mean, I'll let my mom, my grandma watch him sometimes, but other than that, nope. How did you feel when you had him? When I had him, I was happy. I was really happy when I had him. Because when I was pregnant, like, let's say about, like, 4 or 5 months, they said that he wasn't going to be alive. Okay, so having a C-section, I was scared because, you know, what they said and all this stuff. And he came out perfectly fine, and he's here today. So, did you lose your V card? Yeah, I mean, to have a child, you have to lose your V card, so, yeah. And another question was, is he gonna live long? Okay, hydrocephalus is just spinal fluid buildup. There has been, oh, he's just asleep. There's been some kids that has passed away, but not due to their sickness, due to the shunt, like it malfunctioning, as in infections, it breaking, because, you know, it's plastic, or their skin like ripping open. So, I mean, he's had it for a while. He's doing perfectly fine. So, I think the lifeline for him is it's his decision. When he wants to go, he'll go. If he wants to stay, he'll stay. I mean, it's really all up to them. Because, like, I've met my friend on Instagram. She's 16, I believe. Yeah, she's 16. And she's had a shunt since she was born. And, you know, her life is great. I mean, it doesn't stop you from living. It's just, I would say it's the surgery risk and the shunt risk. So yeah, so if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have more questions or some